Hi, I'm just here at my house, and I should probably put on some pants, huh? I think someone would figure it out. Staying level-headed. I was going to talk to you about Marvel Contest of the Champions. Um, Actually, I don't need to put on pants. I'll here. There. That's better, right? Kind of, sort of. Maybe if I get the light out of the. There. Hi. My name is Tim, and I want to talk to you about Marvel Contest of Champions. Wait, I guess she likes me? Set. Need. Wait. Cut. Sit. Thought that was a good idea. Okay, hi. I'm Tim, and I want to talk to you about Marvel Contest of Champions. And it's interesting if you look at some of the different synergy bonuses with all of the different characters and realize that it's something where each character has their synergy bonuses, some of which can stack using them with other characters, some of which can only apply to specific characters, but it isn't just those character synergy bonuses that you need to be concerned with. That it's something where actually the masteries also give certain synergies sometimes that actually can help certain champions. And that when Alliance Wars, where you place your champions on certain nodes, can actually affect their abilities. And it's something where those synergies, it's important to comprehend what each, character in your team, each, champion in the war, what their abilities actually, are. If you have no idea about their abilities, you might put those champions on a node that actually wouldn't even be helpful. And if you, realize what their actual abilities are, what their synergies are, placing them in certain places for strategic value that actually will allow them to have powers beyond what you might think is possible somewhat. Now that's part of what it is I plan on showing you with this video. I'm going to actually show you some of the stuff in the game as to how those characters being placed on certain nodes, some of the masteries, and some of the synergies can all work together and what it actually can allow to have happen. Now, what's interesting is the fact that some of it I don't have any control over and stuff, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Wow. It's somewhere, if you realize that, it's important for any leader within an alliance to actually have a good comprehension of the champions and their abilities. That way, in wars, they can actually make sure that the champions are placed where the alliance has the best effect for those different champions in the actual war. Each of those nodes can make the difference. It can make or break the team for actually, the ability to win a war. I'm gonna make it rain. And if you don't know what the abilities of some of your champions are, and you're just placing them on various nodes for other reasons, it can actually be detrimental to the entire alliance, especially during alliance wars. And then realizing that while playing through the game, it can also have the same type of effects. And knowing which masteries to use for various characters on your teams to give them the best, opportunity to win, and how to choose which, champions to actually level up and increase their abilities based on certain masteries. So that's some of what it is that we'll be talking about here in this particular episode of the new series that I've started without any kind of name at all. One of these days I might actually come up with a name or something like that that'll actually matter. Right now, I really don't care. It's just a series of informative videos that I'm presenting to you. That way, you actually can hopefully use some of the ideas to actually help yourselves in the game so that you can, play better than you possibly already play. Alright, so if you look at the team that I've put together, because it's a little bit different than the other team that I was showing before, you'll notice once again it is a group of characters that is using their synergies. And Captain America, as you see, 3 out of 6. Wolverine has 0 out of 3. Old Man Logan, 3 out of 3. Hulk, 1 out of 3. And Hawkeye, 1 out of 4. So what are the synergies for that particular group there? Once again, Captain America is kind of central to a lot of the different teams that I'm making for various reasons, because of the fact that he actually has the synergy bonuses for mutants and for skill, for science, mystic, cosmic, and of course tech, which it's interesting if you actually look at all of the different benefits that go to the team as far as each individual class of champions. So realizing that with the mutants, that the mutant champions gain a permanent passive plus 20% prowess. That applies to all mutants on the team. Therefore, with Old Man Logan and with Wolverine, since I'm using Wolverine to get the actual synergy bonus, then that means that it applies to Wolverine and Old Man Wolverine, or Old Man Logan, as it's called in the game. Now, that's kind of interesting because with Old Man Logan, as you can tell, using Hawkeye gives plus 130 armor rating. It also gives plus 155 critical rating while using Wolverine. And then also an extra 6% attack using Hulk. Then looking at Hulk, realizing once again with Hawkeye on the team, it gives an extra 130 armor rating. And then Hawkeye himself, having Hulk on the team, gives another plus 130 armor rating. Now that armor rating is something that can actually be very beneficial when playing through certain parts of the game, due to the fact that it can get it to where some of the attacks are practically nullified because of a high armor rating. Depending on who it is you're fighting. And it can actually make the game somewhat more fun, and you don't have to cheat. That's part of what makes it so great, realizing you don't need to cheat to win, that there's a lot of times where just comprehending how the game actually works makes it possible to win without cheating. Now, it's something where certain effects are kind of interesting too. If I were to add Scarlet Witch to the team, when you realize all champions gain plus 5 power gain. Now that's interesting in the fact that the power gain is something where certain champions actually have a power gain ability on their own. What am I talking about? Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Doctor Strange, for example, has a certain ability. Now, if you realize that when you look at how Doctor Strange gets his power, it says passive. Doctor Strange receives 100% less power from attacking and defending, but gains 33% power every 9 seconds. So when you realize that the power gain is great for characters like Doctor Strange, because of the fact that it actually boosts the amount of power they get every however many seconds it is with that particular character. So the synergies can be very important. Now that applies also in other areas too. Those areas that I'm talking about, for example, have to do with alliance wars. Now, if you look at the Alliance War, each of the places in an Alliance War actually has various synergies. Now, looking at where I placed Doctor Strange, you'll notice that it says power gain, increase all power gain by 50%. So that actually is a great place to place someone like Doctor Strange because of that alone.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, you like that, don't you?
Realizing that certain other characters having certain abilities, having them trigger more often, can also create a more difficult and challenging war for those who are fighting against you. As far as some of the different ones that are there, it's odd when sometimes the different moderators will change the places that certain characters are at because they don't seem to comprehend how some of those synergies work.
What? Doesn't even make any sense.
Now, me personally, I usually put a Hawkeye someplace where it'll actually increase the odds of him using his first attack, and that will actually increase that first attack. I usually look at different nodes to try and figure out, where's a node that will actually, help. Why do I want the special one attack in particular? Allow me to show you what it is with the first attack of Hawkeye. That makes it actually really important that he uses mostly his first attack. If you actually look at his abilities, you'll notice that I have an awakened Hawkeye that has a level 67 hemorrhage. So when there's a 25% chance to cause hemorrhage, which is additional bleed, when you realize how much additional bleed that actually causes.
Well, here, I have a little rubbing alcohol and some hydrogen peroxide. Go clean yourself up and get ready for the next fight.
Special attack 1 has a 100% chance to inflict bleed. And then when you look at the amount of damage it does on its own, plus it also depletes up to 40% of the target's max power, meaning that they have less chance of actually having the ability to use any special attacks.
Sunglasses. Anybody seen my sunglasses?
And that is why I actually try to keep Hawkeye at a place where there's the what you might call first attack bias or the first attack bonus, because of the fact that it actually will give that what you can call synergy bonus, allowing that attack to do a ton of damage and also to stop the other player from using some of their special abilities.
I hit the dance floor, gonna make you sweat till you bleed.
So that's why it's important, including in Alliance Wars, to actually know what it is that each character is capable of and the best place to place some of them. I've noticed at different times that there are those who apparently have no idea what some of their special abilities are. For example, there is a 5-star Logan there at number 27. Now, I don't know if you realize it, but Logan actually has a consistent healing factor.
That feeling, I need sexual healing.
So, if you realize, that some of the different healing factors that can actually increase the amount of healing done. I'll show you really quick what I'm talking about. Now, what it says with the Logan there, it says Logan's advanced state has altered his healing factor, allowing him to recover 19.6 health twice per second. Additionally, anytime he bleeds, his healing factor closes the wound 85% factor. Now, like I said, those green numbers can change. They'll change once I level up Logan again. So when you realize that 19.6 health probably doesn't seem like a lot, you're like, well, that's only until you realize certain other stuff. For example, masteries. Now with masteries, you can actually get some different kinds of extra help. For example, getting Salve mastered, giving an extra 4 health twice per second for 60 seconds. Then also getting Recovery, which increases any health your champions recover during a fight by 15% once mastered. And then another helpful health buff of sorts, if you want to call it that, is that for every type of debuff active on your champions, they regenerate 0.7 health per second and gain an extra 135 armor. So when you realize what all that can do for a character like Old Man Logan, his healing factor can go into overdrive. Now what's interesting about that is the fact that if you actually look at the Alliance War, right, and realize that with the Alliance War, which there's several ways of getting to the Alliance War, that there's actually certain nodes that are healing nodes. There it is, the recovery, where it says healing and regeneration abilities recover 50% more health. So the best place to put Logan, Old Man Logan, is actually, for example, tile 49.
Guess we're gonna have to rest all the champions for battery?
When you realize how much health Logan actually can regenerate at node 49 with that 50% more health, with his normal regenerative abilities, with the synergy bonuses, and with mastery. So that 50% stacked with the 15% stacked with an extra possible 0.7% health. That means the entire health, right? Plus an extra 4 health. When you start adding all of that up and realize just how much health Logan can potentially regenerate continually. Now, why do I say continually? Because there's tons of other champions that can heal, and yet they have to be triggered at a certain point.
So where do I sign?
And if you look at some of those different champions that different ones use at different times and realize what it is that I'm talking about. Groot, for example, has a healing regeneration. Now if you notice, his special attack 2, that's how he regenerates. So it's interesting, it's an unblockable attack that helps him regenerate, but you have to use special attack 2 to get the regeneration. It isn't like just a normal ability. And there's others too that also have healing abilities and regenerative abilities. X23, for example, has regeneration. Now, if you notice, 15% chance to regenerate when attacked and when attacking. That's only a 15% chance. doesn't mean that it'll happen even once during a game. You can be fighting and possibly the regeneration will never happen because of that 15% chance. Doesn't mean it won't, but it doesn't mean it will.
So you're getting the feels? I think I'm getting the feels. You're getting the feels too, huh? Just kind of gets you all just thinking about it.
So if you realize that, even Deadpool, if you look at Deadpool, and he's got the healing factor, right? But once again, you have to realize what is it that actually causes it to happen, dropping below 20%. And then once again, it's only once per fight. So when you realize a lot of the different characters, that's basically what it's like for most of them as far as their healing abilities. They have healing abilities, great, but it only happens once during the fight, or has a very low chance of ever happening.
You can only do it once?
But then when you realize that, okay, so looking at those different champions, right, including Wolverine, that has regeneration, and look, once again, 8% chance to get massive healing, and then 14% chance while playing through the game.
How you put it together. Together.
And then, looking even at Venom Pool, right? Venom Pool also has a chance to actually heal. Now, that's where it's like the Omnum, right? Now, when you realize that's with the Special Attack 1. So you have to use Special Attack 1 to possibly trigger the healing.
Nom 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 nom. Yeah, I like eating pussy. Nom 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 nom.
And so if it actually triggers the healing, and it also inflicts bleed, which is interesting, that it will actually allow Venom Pool to heal. So it's kind of interesting with all of that. Having the ability to heal with Venom Pool is very helpful at different times. And it, once again, though, has to be triggered. And there's only a certain percentage of the time that it will actually trigger. And that's what makes Old Man Logan kind of unique, because of the fact that even though it doesn't seem like a lot of health, when you realize that the actual healing is continuous. As I said, it says Logan's advanced stage has altered his healing factor, allowing him to recover 19.6 health twice per second. That's twice per second. So, if you can do the math, if you can figure it out, you realize it isn't just 19.6 health, it's 19.6 health twice per second, plus all those other stacked, synergy bonuses. And additionally, anytime he bleeds, his healing factor closes the wound 85% faster. Anytime he bleeds, his healing factor closes the wound 85% faster. Which is great at different parts of the game whenever anyone has any kind of bleed damage, because of the fact that it barely does any damage at all. And some characters, when you realize most of the damage they do is bleed damage, it isn't actually physical damage that causes a lot of the damage sometimes. So that's what's interesting about it. Plus, if you look at the fact that right now the Old Man Logan that I have is at rank 4 out of 5, level 40/40, which means that, I can actually upgrade Old Man Logan again. I just have to get a few more catalysts. I don't want to buy any cows. I said catalyst. Catalyst. Didn't you ever go to science class? And once I get those catalysts and increase his levels, then once again that healing factor will get a boost. And when you realize how much healing he'll actually have continuously, that might help you comprehend the idea of synergies and masteries and how they can work together with certain characters. So now that you actually have gotten to look at some of those different, synergies, some of the masteries, some of the different nodes, and actually, got the opportunity to, really delve into the idea of using synergies and nodes to enhance your champions further than you may have ever thought possible.
Anyone can beat Iron Man. Hell, I got a can opener.
Then hopefully that will help you as you continue to play Marvel Contest of Champions. Or if you've never played Marvel Contest of Champions, it might get you excited to start playing and realize why there's, just so many that really enjoy the game. And, hopefully it's, the video is informative and gets it to where you actually, find a little bit of excitement in the idea of actually playing and learning how to use some of those abilities, some of those synergies, some of those nodes to enhance your characters so that they're truly, champions in the Contest of Champions.
More mead!
You like my legs? Who wears the pants in your family? Well, I wear the pants, even if I'm sitting in my underwear.